one of our number one value is safety. We're out there every day in the field, and every meeting starts with a safety message, whether that's a meeting that we have in the office or if it's a meeting out in the field with crew leaders and our guys. We're always talking about safety, and we highlight the other values in those meetings as well. But we do start every meeting with a safety message at all levels of the company. Because if we don't go home to our families at night, then there's no reason for us to be here.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
Today, we're going to talk about the commitment to company core values, why it's important, what it looks like, and all of the aspects that go along with this that people are just afraid to engage with. Our special guest today is the co-founder, CEO of Encore Landscape Management. They were number 258 on the 2023 Inc. list. They've grown astronomically fast. And we're going to talk with Mike DiFabbio. I'm going to call him Mike D from here on because I just love the name Mike D. Mike and I talk about this commitment to company core values. And a lot of people say they're committed, but I don't really think they're committed in a way that gets the impact and really has the overall culture benefit that we're talking about today. Mike really does believe that we should have values that we live by, that we should have rituals around this, meaning that we put them in front of meetings. We use valuable time to do this. He actually has one value that's number one priority. Now, being a lawn care maintenance, it's safety. So, but the way he actually talks about it is very valuable for you if you want to make company core values a central forward-thinking process or part of your strategy of culture. That's what today's conversation is about with Mike D. Now, my name is Gene Hammett. I'm an executive coach. We do leadership development, helping your managers become leaders, really closing the skill gap between managers and executives. And all of those things are done using a tool called the Leadership Effectiveness Evaluation. I offer this for free if you're listening in here, because if you want to codify and measure leadership, we have the tools to do it. There's 7 dials. We'll walk you through it, personalized and customized for you. You have to get on the phone with me. I'm sorry, it's not just something I can hand you and do it with technology, because it is so personalized to you, and we want to make sure it's very valuable. So all you have to do is go to genehammett.com, schedule your call, tell me you heard about it on the podcast, and that Leadership Effectiveness Evaluation is absolutely free. Now, what you'll get out of it is clarity. You'll get a very strong sense of where your weaknesses are, where your strengths are, and what you want to do next as an organization. You'll be surprised about what you come out of this, because it may not be what you're currently talking about and thinking about in your executive team meetings, because there we talk about symptoms. We talk about the fires. We're talking about the core aspects of leadership. So go to genehammett.com, schedule your call today. Now, here's the interview with Mike. Mike, how are you?
Doing great, Gene. How are you today? Good to see you.
I am fantastic. We're going to have a great conversation now. I've got to say this because it just hit me. I know your name is Mike DiFabbio, but Mike D, the other famous Mike D in the world.
I get respect. Cash in your jewelry, maybe.
If you don't know who that is, you'll have to look it up, because we're not going to tell you.
100%.
But tell us about your company, Encore Landscape Management.
Yeah, we're a commercial landscape maintenance company. So we specialize in landscape maintenance at commercial office parks, industrial properties, retail centers, hotels, resorts, HOAs, basically anything that isn't your residence, we will take care of. The maintenance is the backbone of our business and the bread and butter and the weekly recurring visits that we make. And then on top of that, we offer tree services, tree pruning, plant health care, enhancement, design services, irrigation work, in addition to the ongoing maintenance. We've got close to 200 employees now, and locations here in Phoenix and in Las Vegas. And it's been a great ride. Been in business for 5 years now, so we're excited to make the Inc. list, and just excited to keep taking it to another level.
Well, 5 years is pretty impressive to be able to get to where you are, and almost 200 employees. That's really a lot of people to care for. And I know you have systems for this. We're going to talk about your company core values today. But besides the company core values, what do you feel like really makes you guys the company that you are today?
Yeah, really, I think it is just sticking to those values and just, committing to living them as close as we can every day. There's no there's no secret to it or anything magical about it. We're not perfect, but we're constantly trying to improve. I think that kind of highlights everything that has made us what we are so far, is the daily grind to get better and just continue to improve however we can. It's not easy, but it's just kind of constant tweaks and constant work on improving our company to make it a place that people want to be for a long time.
Well, we've been talking about company core values here for many, many years, and I'm never tired of the conversation because it is such an important piece to companies, being successful, for having a great, strong culture. I am curious about the tactical elements of the commitment to company core values. So let's walk through some of those tactics of your values. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, we locked ourselves in a room 5 years ago before we started the company, and kind of just decided on what we wanted to be about, and that's kind of how we developed the values themselves. And I think we just every day are working to implement them as best we can. Like I just said earlier, it's not always easy to do, but we try to stick to them every single day. We've got them looping on screens throughout our office. We've got them plastered all over the walls to kind of help guide us and remind us of what we're here for. And it helps kind of provide a path where we want to take the company.
I want to get down to the crew level. I don't know how many crews you have. Maybe you have it up there. It doesn't really matter, but you have a bunch of people out there in the field every day, and you're not on site. So they've got to live these values when they go on site, I would imagine, to a T. How do you guys ensure that your crews are living the values?
Yeah, we've got over 30 crews now between here and Las Vegas. So we have close to 200 employees. Well over 100 are out there in the field, and they've all got supervisors that they report to. And we work really hard to create a company that the supervisors and the crews feel special at. They, in our industry, they're not always potentially treated as well as they should be, or as well as the office staff. But we work really hard to change their life however we can. We do a lot for our teams and our crews. We do tons of parties at both of our locations where we're, involving their families and getting the crews to kind of hopefully feel and see the appreciation that we've got for them. We've got employee of the month programs, a lot of things that you probably hear about from other companies, but we try to affect them outside of compensating them. If we can find a way to affect them and let them feel that appreciation, whether it's bringing their family to an event. We bring all the families to our company Christmas parties and to different events throughout the year. Hopefully that kind of flows down to those guys, and they can, live those values as well. Because you're right, it starts on the front lines with those guys and how they represent us, and they really are the backbone of our company and everything to us.
Now, Mike mentioned family events a couple of times there, and you may be asking yourself why. Here's my perspective. If you're building an organization where you're expecting people to put in the little extras to really stay late and to really push through the challenges when things get tough, then you want to make sure that the families know that they're appreciated too. So when you're inviting the wives, the spouses, the kids, they really are able to experience a part of the culture and know that what you're building there is more than just a job where they get paid. You want to build that connection together. So when you invite these people to events, it does that for you. And hopefully they're structured in such a way that they feel connected to something meaningful. That's the reason why you invite people to family events. Back to Mike. Is there a specific way that which you guys are reinforcing the values that makes sense for you?
Yeah, we start every meeting with one of our number one value is safety. We're out there every day in the field, and every meeting starts with a safety message. Whether that's a meeting that we have in the office or if it's a meeting out in the field with crew leaders and our guys, we're always talking about safety, and we highlight the other values in those meetings as well. But we do start every meeting with a safety message at all levels of the company. Because if we don't go home to our families at night, then there's no reason for us to be here.
Now, I would like to peek in on this meeting, like starting it with a message of safety. Could be we talk about safety, or we actually give, here's what you need to avoid today, or here's something that we need to do. Which version of that are you doing?
Yeah, so we highlight, our safety director highlights topics for us each month that we focus on. And then we use shared stories and experiences that we've encountered in all of our experiences to highlight those to the team. So we'll go around the room and someone will highlight an experience or maybe a close call, or we call them near misses, where someone could have been injured. We'll highlight those so we can just learn from those situations. We've got a we use Slack for all of our internal communication, and we highlight on there if there's an incident on the road, or we have alerts set up on all of our vehicles for the GPS, to where if there's a close call or there's a harsh break and an accident could have potentially happened, that gives all of us a ping on the leadership team. And those situations are then brought down to the crew level and just say, hey guys, here's what happened today. Could have been really bad. Make sure that you're looking out for this. And hopefully we all can learn from that as we go every day. But those alerts are dinging pretty much every day for us, driving with all these crews that we have driving around.
Now, we mentioned every meeting, and I will call this a ritual. If you're doing something every time you do something else, you're connecting these together so that they truly are a ritual. And that's how you live the values. It's not good enough to put them on the walls or put them in the bottom of your email that go out to everyone, or talk about them on Slack. You want to make sure you're structuring and intentional about the rituals around this. It could be recognizing people. It could be how you start meetings. It could be how you end meetings. It could be how you reward people. It could be how you hire people. The rituals are very important. And don't forget the commitment to core values. We also fire by them as well. It's not just about performance, it's about being in alignment with the values. Back to Mike. Now, again, staying with the theme of peeking into these meetings, are you talking about the other values too after safety in the same way?
We're not as much in those meetings. The meetings, especially at the crew level, the main focus is the safety. A lot of those meetings have to happen pretty quickly. We have properties that we have to get out to, so we do highlight safety in those meetings. When we have larger company events or all staff meetings, that's when we get a little bit deeper into all of the values of the company. But when we're at the crew level, the main focus is the safety. Even in our, I guess, daily meetings, we make more of a focus on safety than anything else, just because we want everybody going home to their families.
I love this about the work you do. Like, I don't have to talk to my team about safety, but there is something to be learned, I think, for all of us to reinforce what's most important. You're doing it day in and day out. Is there any part of you that's like, we talk about this too much?
Maybe earlier in my career, myself and my partners, they've done it for close to 30 years and probably 15 for me. But you see enough things happen in our business, and I've seen enough things happen throughout my career and to friends of ours as well that are in service industries. And once you have some of those things happen to you, it's never going to go away, and something that we're going to talk about forever. So
let's switch gears a little bit, Mike.
Yeah.
I really love the fact that you're committed to company core values, and you guys started the company like that. Are there any other rituals that you have that you could share with us that reinforce the values?
Rituals that we have to reinforce our core values?
Yep.
I think we reinforce them hopefully every day just by the way we operate the company. And I don't know if it's a ritual, but we have a huddle every day. We've got meetings every week. So we made the investment in, putting TVs up throughout our office that kind of constantly will show our values and examples of them being lived out in the field, whether it's, pictures of an event that we had or highlights of a meeting that we've recently done. But we try to make mention of them. We don't always do it, but we try to make mention of our values at every meeting that we have, just to reinforce them and again, keep them visual, keep them on the screens, and highlight, team members when we see them living them, whether it's out there in the field with our team and our clients or internally. We try to make mention of those as well.
I want to put a spotlight on that for a moment. You're noticing when someone's living the values, which is a way to say you're recognizing them, and you're really trying to demonstrate to others you want them to do the same. Did I catch that right?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. We try to use it, not only to highlight that person, but also to inspire the rest of our team and ourselves to live those as well. Things happen so quickly in our business, and, we are growing at a pretty good clip. So it's sometimes easy to forget things like this and the daily reinforcement of them. But if we have an opportunity to highlight something that someone did, we definitely would jump on that and use that as kind of hopefully a motivating tool.
Your company has grown really fast. You have a lot of employees. I think values are a way for us to put guardrails around decision-making. Are you seeing people make decisions based on the values that are reinforced over and over and over out in the field?
Absolutely. Yeah. We see it, I would say, weekly. We have meetings every week where we're making, when we're growing at the rate that we are, there's a lot of decisions that have to get made, fairly quickly. And we want to make decisions quickly and not wait around to make them. So a lot of times an easy guideline to help make that decision is highlighting a value. And it's pretty amazing how you can tie almost any decision you're making, at least at a certain level, to some of these core values. Whether it's, one of our values is being humble and no egos and no jerks. And it's pretty funny how often that one kind of comes up, and we can kind of point to that and say, it's a pretty easy answer. It might not be the easiest answer. And here we have another value about doing what's right and not what's easy. And it's just kind of interesting how those values pop up, and we can hopefully make the right decision.
Well, that's the purpose of having values that allow the team to know how the organization as a whole expects you to behave, and they can think about those things when they're reinforced well. I want to start landing this plane, if you will, Mike, with this conversation. Like, have you ever thought about how your commitment to core values actually drives the success of the company?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, hopefully, again, it's easy to sit here and say that, we're living these perfectly every day, and, we're following our values, but it's kind of a constant pursuit. But if we are following these values and living them every day, I think it inspires, the people on our team to want to be here for a long time. One of our values is about teamwork and having each other's backs. And we've made some pretty tough decisions over the past few years, both internally and externally with some of our clients, to support our team. We've had to end profitable relationships with clients, large clients, because maybe they weren't necessarily treating our team the way that we thought was proper. And again, when we look to our values, we have to have the backs of our team. And I think they see those decisions and the results of those decisions, and kind of what, the process was to make it. And hopefully the team feels like, we're standing up for them, even when it's not the easy thing to do, maybe from a business or financial perspective. But in the long term, like you're saying, it's definitely, in our opinion, the right move to keep our team feeling like we got their backs, which we do.
Mike, we've been talking about the commitment to company core values. And I want to ask you another question, because I know before we hit the recorder today, we talked about the importance of tough conversations. You've had this probably week after week. You're having people problems you have to address. What is your best advice for leaders that are struggling to have those tough conversations?
Yeah, that's why we have a value: do what's right, not what's easy. And it's very easy to look past those tough conversations. So the reason we made that value is kind of to force us to have them. And I think anytime, if anybody is feeling uncomfortable about something, we encourage them, you have to start the conversation. It's not going to help anybody if you sit on it, if you do what's easy and just let it go. So I think my advice would just be, get in a room and sit down with somebody. It's almost always easier once you get the conversation started. That's what I found, at least in my experience. A lot of conversations that I've dreaded over the years, or the night before, you're like, man, I really don't want to sit down at this meeting, almost always goes better than I initially anticipated, or what was giving me anxiety. So you just got to get the conversation started. I don't think there's any easy way to do it, but just force yourself to get it out there in the open and see where it goes.
I want to put a highlight on that. It's almost always easier once you get the conversation started. I agree with that 100%, because if you avoid them, you start to think about them. The word fester comes up with a lot of the CEOs I coach, and just having the conversation as an entry point. Not that you have to solve it the first conversation, but just like understand the other person. All of this wraps up into this concept of leadership. What's one leadership principle that drives you in the success of Encore Landscape Management?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if it's a leadership principle or not, but just for me personally, it's trusting my gut. I always try to stay loyal to my gut. There's a few times, in my life and my career that I've ignored something I was feeling and made a decision based on that. And again, your gut's not always right, but I truly believe that I'm a big believer in intuition, and my intuition has guided me throughout my life and my career. And I really believe that if you stick to your gut more often than not, you're going to be on the right side of things.
Well, that's a fantastic place for us to wrap up today's conversation with Mike about committing to company core values. Thank you for being here and sharing your wisdom.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Gene. Thank you.
Wow, what a great interview. I really do believe that the commitment to company core values is something that will take you a long ways. In fact, it's one of the cornerstones of all of leadership and all of business success that I've seen, and I would tell someone to do first and foremost. Now, you may think it's a little bit fluffy to put so much emphasis on company core values, but the reality is this is how we align together. This is how we communicate and engage with each other. This is how we get things done. and you want to make sure that those values are clear to everyone and that we live them and that we truly are able to recognize people for it. And it is front and center inside of our conversations and our rituals in our organization. When you think of growth and you think of leadership, think of Growth Think Tank. As always, the courage. We'll see you next time.